incident on February the 5th. The Jhershierra massacre, when the Chinese authorities brutally cracked down on peaceful demonstrators, with several hundred estimated to have been killed. The claims came just days after Amnesty International warned of an ongoing crackdown against human rights lawyers and other activists in Beijing linked to China's hosting the Olympic Games. The Chinese authorities' reference to terrorism and threats to state security, especially in the context of preparation for the Olympics, are seen as a justification for a broad crackdown not only on ethnic minorities critical of Chinese rule, but human rights defenders as well. Intensified censorship and attacks and abductions of peaceful activists by suspected security officials in Beijing make a mockery of official promises to improve human rights in the run-up to the Olympics, said Tim Parrott, Deputy Programme Director of Amnesty International's Asia-Pacific Programme on Friday. Amnesty International revealed that Teng Bauer, a lawyer, academic and human rights activist, went missing after eyewitnesses saw him being bundled into a vehicle just after he arrived home at around 8:30 p.m. on Thursday the 6th of March. While he was subsequently released, he was apparently warned not to speak to foreign journalists about his abduction. In a separate case on Friday morning, human rights lawyer Li Heping's car was rammed by a police car while he was driving his son to school in Beijing. He and his son were jolted by the crash but are not thought to have suffered serious injuries. The police car had been following him from his home and apparently accelerated before the crash. Li Heping recognized the three officers in the car as being from his police district. He said that the driver of the car ignored him when he confronted him about the crash, and traffic police refused to take up the case when he reported the incident to them later in the day. In September 2007, Li Heping was abducted by unidentified men, beaten with electroshock batons, and told he should leave Beijing for risk of further attacks. The intensification of the targeting of two human rights lawyers suggested that the stranglehold on activists in Beijing is tightening in the run-up to the Olympics, said Tim Parrott. The authorities must conduct a full, impartial investigation into the abduction of Teng Bauer and the incident involving Li Heping, he said. Tim Parrott added, "Demonstrators have a right to protest peacefully. China violates international human rights standards in denying their freedom of assembly and freedom of expression. Amnesty International condemns human rights abuses wherever they occur on the streets of Beijing or the mountains of Tibet. Amnesty International calls on China to release immediately all those detained for peacefully exercising their rights."
In the Tibetan capital Lhasa, Chinese soldiers come out in force.
There were two heavily armoured vehicles, 6 APCs, and then another couple of very lightly armoured tanks. Today it has only been foot patrols in our area. A couple of French cyclists tried to leave earlier today, to leave the actual city limits, and have been turned back.
In the market, soldiers go from building to building, showing the Tibetans hiding inside who's in charge.
We have full capabilities to deal with the problems in Tibet and safeguard the security of the Tibetan people. The situation in Lhasa is very good now.
But the trouble has spread. Here, Chinese security forces in another Tibetan region take away protesters. It's all become the most serious challenge to China's rule over Tibetans for 20 years.
This is what a security clampdown looks like as it's actually happening. Armored vehicles and heavily armed riot police moving in strong to retake control of Lhasa in overwhelming fashion. Lhasa is now believed to be sealed off as the security services are now up those responsible for the rioting and unrest of the past few days. Until today, Chinese authorities had given demonstrators a deadline of Monday night to turn themselves in exchange for leniency. Now it's clear they've decided not to wait. And that's why the Dalai Lama himself is not mincing words over what's going on.
Whether intentionally or unintentionally, some kind of cultural genocide is taking place.
The exiled spiritual leader is now pleading for help to find out just what has been happening.
Please investigate by yourself if possible. know, some respected sort of organization, international organization, can tell me, firstly, what is the condition, what was the situation in Tibet, and what is the causes?
It seems to say death occurred, or killing occurred in different locations. So communication among them also is difficult, I think. So I don't know. So best thing is some group of people go there and so they find out what's really happening. It becomes really very, very tense. Now, today and yesterday and today, I had the sort of same experience. That was 1959 after 10th March. So things really become tense. The Tibetan side determined, the Chinese side also equally determined. So that means the result, killing, more suffering.
You fear that things could get worse?
I don't know. It's very possible, very possible. So it's really desperate.
If you called for demonstrations to stop completely, would they stop?
I don't know. And even if I received some sort of request from Tibet, don't ask them to stop. Even already used to send some that kind of message from Tibet itself. Anyway, firstly, my position is semi-retired position, and then secondly, we're fully committed about democracy, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Then also, I always consider myself as a free spokesman for Tibetan people, not controller or not master. So it's people's movement, up to them. Whatever they've done, whatever they do, of course, I have to act according to their wish or according to their act, like that.
What would your appeal be to the Chinese authorities today?
I already appealed. The stability, unity is very, very essential. The stability, unity must come from heart, not simply physical control by force. It is wrong method. Now, Chinese done that. Now, over 50 years, they done that. Failed. About 20 years ago, you see, this similar situations happened. Now 20 years passed, another new generation of youth is now coming. Now they are carrying the same sort of, or say the same spirit or same attitude. So, you see, ultimately the Chinese government sort of thinking or policy, not looking the reality, and with common sense, they simply feel they have gone, so they can control. It's obviously they can control, but they cannot control human mind. More suppression, more military occupation, or more military sort of suppression, more resentment.
Many Tibetan exile groups are now talking about a boycott of the Beijing Olympics. You've always been very clear that you believe China should have the chance to host the Olympics. Have the events of the last few days caused you to rethink in any way?
No, I still feel that. But in the meantime, I always remind people, in order to be good host, in certain things must improve. Now this incident in Tibetan area, not only in autonomous region, but also in other Tibetan area, this I think very, very unfortunate, very bad for image of China.